Hello, I'm Amisile Pamela Ngubane, and this is the Entity Dynamics podcast. Entity Dynamics is a culture development consultancy where we believe that culture creates behavior and behavior creates reality. The title of this video is "The Stone That the Builder Refused Has Now Become the Chief Stone of the Corner." So that's from the gospel, obviously. And basically, Christ is talking about how those that the system, the religious system of that day, rejected in him specifically, is going to become the cornerstone of the new world that is going to come into fruition through the consciousness revolution that he came to bring about. Okay. And this is in line with in the book of Daniel, where Daniel sees in King Nebuchadnezzar's dream that statue made of gold, silver, bronze, iron and clay. It gets smashed by a mountain, which then grows and covers the whole earth. This is that consciousness revolution. And I think personally that when the Bible talks about Christ's return, I don't think it's going to be him personally, but it might be, who knows, that would be cool too. But I think it's more of going to be his consciousness returning to the earth, the real truth that he came to teach, not what we've been presented as his truth, which has disempowered people, which is exactly the opposite of what he came to do. He came to give us life and in abundance, as he said himself. And obviously you can see a lot of people are not living abundant lives. And I'm not just talking about financially, which is obviously an issue with all the poverty, but I'm also talking about in the ability of people to express themselves and to be free and to pursue their goals without hindrance, to pursue their spiritual development without hindrance, without being vilified for thinking differently, for using their brains to figure things out for themselves, for deciding that they are just as much an authority on their own spiritual development as any priest or clergy person or whatever, cleric that exists, right? So in terms of this saying as well, I think what we find in the world is that the people who really do sincerely want to make the world a better place, the people who are sincerely committed to the truth, are the people who tend to be the most unsure of themselves and who tend to very much live in their heads and fail in many respects to execute what it is that they wish they could see happening in the world, you know. And it's not for a lack of a desire, but these people generally tend to be the ones that are sidelined, ostracized, blocked, even eliminated, as we've seen in the past. You know, people who really sought to bring real change to humanity were killed. Their inventions, like the electric car, like Nikola Tesla, their inventions were destroyed, their data was confiscated so that their ideas would never see the light of day. Jesus himself was assassinated. You know, how many of the prophets, the apostles, you know, and all over the world, you know, spiritual leaders who sought to teach people a new way, a higher way, a way that was more harmonious and more conducive to their own well-being. You know, you go to South America, Viracocha, with the Aztecs, for example, you know. So, but I do believe, and this is what prophecy says, that we are entering a time now where humanity is going to be given the opportunity to choose something different from what we've experienced. And it's going to happen, though, only through people themselves making conscious and intentional decisions to bring about this new world, you know. And so I think if you're someone who wants to see a better world, then, and you found yourself that, you know, in pursuit of this vision, you've been sidelined, you haven't been able to fit in to the mainstream. Maybe you've been a corporate person, but you've just find yourself unable to gel with that corporate culture where it's all about your own personal accumulation and to hell with the rest of humanity. You know, you are the stone that the builder rejected, because when Christ says the stone that the builder rejected has now become the chief stone of the corner, the thing that the builder has built and the process which involves him rejecting the stone, that system has been built. We are living in that system now, but it's going to be replaced. It's going to be undermined, and something new is going to be built. Those builders, maybe they'll be able to continue with whatever they're doing with their system and their culture on the side, but something new is going to take its place. But that requires us, as people who are committed to the truth and who want to see a better world, to get up every day and intentionally build that world, and believe that we have the ability and the right to do so. And also start really, like I say, if you're looking for truth, you're going to have to look outside of the bounds of whatever religious institution you're in, Start to question the foundations of reality and start to see that you are supported, because, as they say, nature always creates an equilibrium. Every ecosystem, if you see it, will try and deal with the disruption to bring back balance. Even your own body, if you get a cut, your white blood cells go there, analyze the situation, and start to fix your cut, and your blood will coagulate unless you have hemophilia, and you'll get a scab, and then next thing you know, you've just got a scar, and if it's not too bad, that scar will disappear, right? So life, creation, consciousness seeks balance, seeks to establish an ecosystem that is conducive to the optimal development of life. And so we are actually supported if we seek to bring balance to this planet by allowing people to really live in a world where they have the choice to live abundant, peaceful lives. But it requires us to get up and do stuff and know that we are supported. Know that when Christ said that the stone has now become the chief stone of the corner, or the chief cornerstone, it's true. There is a new system that's going to be built, but it's not going to happen like how we've been taught. There's no one who's going to come from the sky and fix the world, because just like how Christ was trying to teach the Jews that it's all about your consciousness, it's the same thing. Jesus is not going to come here and be like Superman, where he keeps fixing our problems, but because we haven't changed our consciousness, we keep creating the same drama for ourselves that we need him to keep rescuing us from. It's not about that. It's about a culture revolution, changing the way we think, and this is why I also say, like, the only successful revolutions are the ones that are accompanied by a corresponding culture development. If you look at Cuba, the reason why communism succeeded there in that revolution of Fidel Castro is because before he took his militia to overthrow Batista, he went across Cuba from village to village, educating them as to why this revolution had to happen. So when it did happen, the whole country was behind him, and the whole country defended that revolution, you see. And so we need to be the people who become the custodians of this new world where there is freedom, fairness, truth, people being responsible for themselves, being accountable for themselves, people seeing themselves as capable, knowing that they are supported, and we are supported. We all have an invisible team around us who are counting on us to do our best to stay strong against all the naysayers and the attackers, because the system has made many people very comfortable. They don't want it to be changed. They're going to see you as a person who's coming to undermine their well-being and way of life, even though the truth is they also are going to benefit. Everyone's going to benefit. The more people who are out of poverty, who are in freedom, the more people benefit from that freedom and that prosperity that's everywhere. So we also can't find ourselves beholden to narcissists who think that it's perfectly acceptable for them to exploit people and to bring people down so that they can feel better about themselves. That is a very low vibrational frequency. It is not conducive to an earth of freedom and truth and prosperity for everyone. And And so, yeah, let's be intentional. Let's be strong. Let's know that we are worth it, and let's invest in ourselves and stand up every day and do the truth that we want to see in the world. Thank you.